So the talk today is about how you can become your own energy healer. So first of all, you know that I practice a number of energy healing modalities, the simplest of which is one called the emotion code. And I like that because, and that's the one we're going to use today, because this is so easy and so simple. I get my clients to learn to do this by themselves, those of them who are open to it. And I'm going to show you how easy it is for you to be able to do it yourselves. There's actually only one real skill that you need in order to be able to do it. But first, why would you want to be your own energy healer? Why would you, what would be the advantage of doing that? So let me explain just a little bit about what the emotion code is based on, and then I'll tell you about why, how it can be helpful in daily life. The emotion code is based on the idea that when we are in a healthy condition and we're going through life, we will have experiences, some of which are pleasant, which is not a problem, and some of which are horrible. And the ones that are horrible, if we're in a healthy condition, we'll experience the emotions, we'll deal with them, and we'll move on. They'll pass. They'll basically process through us. If we're not in a healthy condition, maybe if we're tired, or if we're feeling overwhelmed, or if we've got baggage that gets triggered by these things that are happening and the emotions that come up, then we can very easily decide that we don't want to experience these emotions at this time, and we choose not to. So what we're actually doing is we're choosing to repress those emotions. In the emotion code, we call these a trapped emotion. Now, when these emotions get repressed and trapped in the body, they're not emotions anymore. They're just balls of energy. Because essentially emotions, like it's a topic for another talk, but just like us, emotions are a manifestation of energy vibrating at a particular frequency. When we repress an emotion, that emotion becomes an energy ball that can go anywhere in the body and cause any sort of disruption. So the example I always use is if you're playing squash and you hurt your knee, you have a little knee injury. If you've got a trapped emotion in the knee, you might find that things don't just improve and you don't just get over it and it doesn't sort of heal by itself as you would expect. You might find that it gets more tender, that it becomes triggered more easily, that it lingers. And most likely, if there aren't any additional complications there already there, most likely the reason for that is that you have trapped emotions in your knee. And I've seen it so many times that people have pains, and through releasing a few trapped emotions, those pains are very much relieved and sometimes totally gone altogether. So this is a very simple modality, one that's extremely easy to use, and one that I'm going to show you how to use today, or at least to show you the building blocks. So why would you want to do this? Well, the first one is that you can transform your quality of life through this. So if you have got, for example, knee pain or back pain, it's something that you can use. And one of the first things I ever did on myself, I had this searing pain in my back. I didn't know where it had come from, and there was a huge inflammation as well. So I released about 20 trapped emotions, one by one, from my back. By the end of that session, the pain was in half, the inflammation had gone completely down, and it continued improving later that evening. The next morning, there wasn't much pain left at all, and it went quite soon. These sorts of things are very common, that the pain gets relieved. But it's not only pain, it can be any sort of issue. It could be you're easily triggered by something. Or it could be, you know, to an extent, it could even be that you're not making progress in a certain area of your life. You're not open to bringing money in, or you're not open to having good relationships with people and good communication. The release of these trapped emotions can really help with that as well. You can overcome unwanted habits using the emotion code. So I know, I heard about some, it's not someone I know, but I heard about somebody who was learning the emotion code, and they had a compulsive eating problem. And they decided, okay, I'm not going to stop myself eating. You know, I'm not going to sort of force myself to sort of not eat when I have this urge to eat. But what I am going to force myself to do is, before I reach for the food, I'm going to ask my body, are there any trapped emotions that are making me want this food? And I will release any trapped emotions there at that moment that are causing it. And then if I still want the food, I'll take the food. He didn't have another impulse snack again, because every time that happened, the desire for food fell away. So that's just one example, but any sort of habit, that sort of routine of checking in for around trapped emotions is a really powerful one to change it. And the next one is, you can optimize your well-being. I use it for this on a daily basis. You know, sometimes you notice that you have a difficult conversation and you feel down, or you just feel you're knocked off balance and you don't even know a reason for it. Check in with yourself. Are there any trapped emotions that are causing me to feel like this? Release a few. And, you know, for me, I find that over a period of half an hour to an hour after that, I sort of normalize in a way that I wouldn't normally expect to. So it's a really, really powerful thing to have in your back pocket that you can just use all the time. But in order to use it, there's one skill that you need. And this is, you know, once you learn this skill, the emotion code is just a step-by-step process. The skill is one that I'm sure Kia will have. Kia, you will have this already. Brooke, possibly as well, you will have this. It's the ability to muscle test. Basically, it's an ability to use your body. Actually, you could use your fingers. I use a method like this. So I put pressure. I put one ring in the other, put pressure between them. If the fingers come apart, then it's a no. If they stay strong, then it's a yes. But it takes a while for most people to get up to being able to do that. There's one form of muscle testing which we're going to have a go at today, called the sway test. Now, you've heard of this, Diane, have you? You're nodding. Okay, good. Have you done it, by the way?
If it's the one I'm thinking of, I think Joy has done it on us.
Okay, okay.
If it is the same one, yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna. Sorry, Kia?
Is it something like dowsing?
Yeah, it's a little bit, yeah. So what I'm going to get you to do this in a moment. So we wouldn't normally start with doing the fingers because it takes some time. We would normally start by doing this thing called the sway test. So what we would do is we would stand up, you know, feet shoulder width apart in a relaxed position. I'll just tell you what it is now and then we'll do it. Close our eyes and ask ourselves a question. And that's all I'm going to say for now. I'm going to say that for now. What I'd like you to do is put your cameras off for this, because it would be fun to see everybody, but actually I want you to be focused on what you're doing just for a moment. If you could put your cameras off and stand, I don't know if you can get me on the picture there. It's because it's a virtual background, I'm disappearing. Stand sort of feet shoulder width apart. I'll stand closest to the camera. Oh, it's not working at all now. There we are. So stand feet shoulder width apart. Close your eyes, take a couple of deep breaths and relax. And then ask yourself a question. It could be internal, you don't need to say it out loud, or make a statement. So we all know that today is Tuesday. So let's make the statement, today is Tuesday. Kia, put your camera off because you're the one who can do this. So I don't want people to see what happens with you. I can still see you, Kia. Let me put your camera off for you. Okay, just don't look at Kia. That's all I can say. So say to yourself the statement, today is Tuesday, and just relax and see what happens. Tell me if anything happens. So when you're ready, put your mic back on and let me know what you've experienced.
I felt there was no movement.
Yeah.
No movement.
Yeah, same with me.
Okay. Anyone else?
You move forward.
Kia moved forward.
Yeah, I went forward, I think.
Mark went forward. Brooke, did you ever go? I think Brooke's taking some time out, maybe.
I know. Slight forward movement.
Slight forward movement. Well, it's the forward movement. Well, let's do the other one, and let's see what happens. So again, let's try it again now. And this time we're going to say today's Saturday and see what happens.
Today is Saturday. Today is Saturday.
Definite pull forward.
Okay. Anyone else?
Definite pull forward.
So John and Diane went forward, Mark went backwards, is that right?
Backward.
Yeah, I was definitely getting more to book backwards, actually.
Yeah,
Backward for me.
And Brooke. So Mark and Brooke, and obviously Kia, you've got this straight away. So the move forward indicates a yes, and a move backwards indicates a no. If you're getting that right from the start, you're probably quite skilled and naturally talented at this muscle testing. And so moving forward and taking this up and actually doing it yourself is something that would probably be quite straightforward for both of you. You probably need a bit more practice to get your confidence up, and you'd be doubting it all the time. But you know what I found is that when I did it and I got to that place where I was starting to doubt, well, how do I know this is just moving forwards and backwards? How do I know I'm interpreting it the right way? There are times when you do too much work on yourself and your ability to get it right disappears for a short time. When you experience that, then you know the difference between when it's working and when it's not, and it bolsters the confidence. Diane, you wanted to say?
Yeah, I'm just finding it interesting that the people that went forward and then went backwards, whereas John and I, we felt we stood still, but then went forward. So we were definitely moving in the same way. And I wonder if you think about the way the group is, although Mark kind of throws it out a little bit, but I'm wondering if people that are actually hoping to healing in a different way, whereas John and I, you know, our kind of professions are very, you know, almost in a similar way, that perhaps our minds work differently. I'm just throwing that up as it's a small group of us, and it's not obviously conclusive, but it's interesting that John and I were doing the same thing too.
Because we're numbers per people.
Yeah. See, our brains. Yeah, but Mark is more creative than us. I would have said.
I've come across it before. And
yeah, did you do it with Joy?
No, I did it with Martina from Synchronistic, who John will know. So she's done this before, and I just wonder whether I'm wondering whether my mind, who knows, is influencing me because I'm overthinking it and almost it's moving my body for me. That would be my, I don't know. I was just sort of challenging myself as to whether it's my mind that is going, well, of course it's Tuesday, and I know that yes is forward, and I'm kind of moving.
How did you, Mark? How did it work the first time you did it, Mark? Did it work then?
To be honest, I don't remember testing it in the way we've just done it.
Okay.
You know, I think we were just doing. I mean, I actually tried this recently in exactly the context you talked about. It's like I found myself thinking, I might just go and get a snack, and then I've actually tried it. You know, and noticed that it's like, no, I don't actually need one.
Yeah.
Guy, I've been. Someone else was doing something similar. I think it was a lady called Debbie Thalloway or something like that. Okay. And she was doing the exercise with the fingers, and the exercise with the fingers, that sort of kind of worked straight away.
Oh, did it really? Yeah. Okay. Was it this one, John? Where
it was. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, it was Debbie, because I'm sorry, I confused. Joy, bless her, was no longer with us, but because they were such good friends, I often confused the pair of them. It was Debbie. Yes, you're quite right, John. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, so that's interesting, John. So it might be that you have more affinity with the finger methods. And
I've got no idea. I mean, it's just having done the finger one, and it seemed to work fairly quickly in terms of the idea between the fingers releasing and not releasing.
fingers is much more convenient, like if you're in a supermarket or something like that and you want to check whether food, you know, that sway test, which I used to do at the beginning when I was learning it, the sway test in a supermarket. It's not that it's not
This
that,
is useful, especially when you are shopping.
Yeah.
Whether it is good for me,
Yeah.
it goes forward, get it.
And not everybody does get it straight away, Diane. It doesn't mean that you don't have any aptitude for it. Some people, it just takes a bit longer, you know, and they, you know, sometimes it's nerves, sometimes people feel on edge.
Also, it's different. When Debbie did it, she did it in a different way. I think that's what John was saying. I don't remember her doing such clear, but I do remember on one occasion swaying so far forward I nearly fell over.
Okay.
So it might have been that she but it might be that she was doing it very emotionally, and she obviously tapped into an emotion, whereas perhaps that's too straight for me. I don't know. It's kind of, we're all different, aren't we? That's the joy of this world.
Yeah. Well, and you know, even for Mark and Brooke, if this is new for them, this, you know, there will be that phase where if you want to start to use it, it'll seem weird. It'll seem like, well, can I trust this? Am I just, you know, like you were saying before, Mark, do I just know that this is the answer, and so on. But when that happened to me, I just persisted with it. And when I persisted with it, I had so many experiences of it actually working. First of it making a material difference through the emotion code steps, and second of having overloaded myself by doing too much, and then finding that I couldn't do it, and then realizing that at the rest of the time I could do it. So if it's anything that's remotely interesting to you, it's worth taking up, I think. Where did we get to? So we don't have time to actually go through the steps. It would take a little bit longer, but literally the steps are outlined in a really simple table in this book, and you can actually get the table online if you just do some searching on Google. It's just a flow chart. You ask this question and that question, you identify what the trapped emotion is from a chart. So first of all, you ask, is it in column A, is it in column B, and you narrow it down until you identify the emotion. And then there's a very simple technique of swiping your hand to release that emotion. It sounds too good and too simple to be true, but when you see again and again the effects that it has, that speaks for itself. The emotion code book is by a guy called Bradley Nelson, who is that guy in the picture there. He invented it probably about 20 years ago or so, as he was working with his own patients. He actually didn't feel like he wanted to write the book because he knew that if he did, it would be a lot of work. And he said, well, quite naturally, I'm quite lazy and I didn't want to go through all of this, but he did in the end. And it was, I'm really pleased that he did. So there we are. I'm not going to take you through the steps in terms of how to do the emotion code, but there's a handout which I can send round to you actually, if you would like, which makes it really easy. The book explains it in a lot more depth. Is there anything that anyone would like to ask? Any sort of question or comment?
I think the handout would be very good to send round to people.
Okay, I'll do that. Shall I send it to you, John? So you've got the list, I guess.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah.
Can I just say one point? Obviously, we're keeping it simple, and I understand why you're doing that. But sometimes you don't know that you have emotions governing what you're doing.
Exactly, and that's what's the beauty of this, because this is different from traditional talking therapy. Because with the emotion code, you don't need to know anything. You just need to know what the issue is. So I've got a problem with this, and you ask the body, do I have any trapped emotions that are causing this issue? The body, through this muscle testing, will find whatever imbalances, whatever emotions in this case, are causing that issue, and it will release them one by one through the code. See, so what I should have said before, because it's a really important part of the emotion code, is that it bypasses the traditional way of working through stuff, which is thinking and talking and reliving and re-experiencing. This goes directly to the subconscious mind and addresses it on that level. Go on, Mark.
Well, I was just looking online at the code table.
Okay, you got it.
So basically, you keep asking yourself questions till you pin it down to the correct row, correct column, correct thing.
Yes.
And then you've got the exact thing, and then kind of give your self permission to release that. It's interesting, yeah.
Yeah. So if anybody does it, let me know. Like, it's just been really interesting, and let me know how it goes and what you achieve with it.